Welcome to Rob Schmitt tonight. In the run-up to the 2020 election, nothing was more insufferable than watching establishment Washington attempt to rebrand Joe Biden into an electable candidate. It's kind of hard to remember Joe before the indoctrination that we all had to go through, but Biden was never impressive. He was never capable. A very unimpressive politician. Even Obama couldn't stand him. But Joe Biden could potentially win back the Rust Belt states, and that was all that really mattered in 2020. And so they went to work on rebranding Joe Biden, like turning a warthog into the prom queen. Biden was thrust into a position he never belonged. It was eye-opening, to say the least, to see how fake Washington and this whole game is, and it certainly is. And nobody was more insufferable and transparently phony during that time than Nancy Pelosi.
Joe Biden is the president we need right now. Battle-tested, forward-looking, honest and authentic. This is a person who respects other points of view, a person who has a vision about our country that is consistent with the vision of our founders, that respects the sacrifice of our men and women in uniform. A person of such knowledge, such vision for the country. He's just perfect.
Good God. Watching that in hindsight. Wow. So what's it like to be an instrument of power and nothing more? What's it like to connect to nothing except your ability to control and enrich yourself? Just ask Nancy Pelosi, because she's capable of saying that. Joe Biden, the elder statesman, was born in early 2020. But there was just one problem. The real Joe Biden would never be able to live up to the myth that they'd created about him to get him elected. And when Afghanistan collapsed, after Biden rushed the exit for the political benefit of celebrating withdrawal on the 20th anniversary of 9/11, Biden was exposed for the mediocre politician thrust into the White House by a corrupt Department of Justice and establishment media that he is. Marine Sergeant Tyler Vargas Andrews testified earlier this year about the day that a suicide bomber blew up Abbey Gate during the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. Sergeant Andrews had the bomber in his sights, but was not given clearance to kill him because nobody knew what was going on. That was before that bomber blew Sergeant Andrews up and killed nearly 200, including 13 American service members. Sergeant Andrews lost an arm and a leg. Listen to him describe meeting Joe Biden in the hospital.
Remember him coming up to me, trying to shake my hand, try to shake my right hand. And I look at him, and I'm like, I don't have an arm. And my left arm is in this big cast with this giant orange foam block around it. I completely immobile. All I can do is move my head. My arm's gone. I'm like, I don't have an arm. And he says, oh, and kind of stands up and then goes over to reach for my fingers because about an inch of my fingers are showing, and just grabs my fingers. Doesn't greet me or anything. Just, that's what happened. Just grab my fingers. Almost immediately starts talking about how their son served in the military. Doesn't say anything about what happened. Starts talking about how their son served in the military. And, my mom is just she's furious at this point, and they're taking pictures and stuff.
The real Joe Biden, described right there. Media trained to just start talking about his son, Beau, who did serve, but died of brain cancer. Biden tries to blur that line all the time. That's who Joe Biden really is. He tries to soft claim that Beau died in battle. We've seen him do it countless times. And Gold Star families are certainly noticing. Cheryl Rex certainly noticed and mentioned it yesterday while speaking at a congressional forum in California, which was put on to condemn the Biden administration's Afghanistan withdrawal.
When he approached me, his words to me were, my wife Jill and I know how you feel. We lost our son as well and brought him home in a flag-draped coffin. My heart started beating faster, and I started shaking, knowing that their son died from cancer and they were able to be by his side. Also wondering how someone could honestly, be so heartless to say he knew how I felt a little over 24 hours, and learning of my son's death.
How insulting that has to be. Their incompetence ended your child's life, and they just have it on auto repeat what they're going to say. They don't even take the time to figure out that the young man lost an arm before they walk into the room. They don't care enough to even ask questions. They just give the same repeat line. Imagine what that feels like from the President of the United States to realize these people don't care about anything except themselves, their ability to get elected, and in Biden's case, his ability to enrich himself and his family through office. Other Gold Star parents slammed the president as well yesterday.
My son needed a commander-in-chief who cared solely about his life. Instead, his commander-in-chief chose to use him as a pawn so he could meet his September 11th deadline and get the optics he wanted.
He hits the nail right on the head. As for Marine Sergeant Tyler Vargas Andrews, his meeting with Biden after losing an arm and a leg only got worse. Here's more of that story.
I'm sitting there, and he comes over to me, and he leans over me. And I have a picture of this to prove it. I'll show you this picture that I have. It's a pretty funny picture. He leans over me, and he's like this close to my face, and he's like, "What do you want?" And I said,
"What do you want?"
Yeah, I said, "What do you want?" I said, "What?" He said, What do you want?" And I'm just like confused. I just got blown up. Just saw my friends die next to me. I'm like, I just want to be myself. And he's like, "Huh?" And my mom's furious. And she's like, "He said he just wants to be himself. He just wants to be him. He said he just wants to be me." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And they just continue to talk about everything but what just happened.
Everything but what just happened. Biden was elected in large part for his alleged empathy. Biden cared, remember? That's what we were told. Trump was evil. Biden cares. Biden's a real American. Americans were duped. The Democrat Party talked about integrity. We can't find any in Joe Biden, and believe me, we've been looking for the last couple years. An NBC headline, Joe Biden's brand is being tested like never before. The story claims GOP attacks are cutting at the bedrock of the president's longtime appeal. The article mostly highlights Hunter's escapades because NBC is largely run by people who vote for Joe Biden. But it does point out Biden's refusal to acknowledge his beautiful grandchild because she is a political liability. Yes, Joe Biden, the picture of American integrity, according to Nancy Pelosi. These are the people you're supposed to listen to and trust. Is anyone surprised this man used his drug-addicted son to collect money all over the world, allegedly taking bribes from foreign adversaries, risking our national security so he can get rich in places like China, places like Russia?